Hey guys, so this is part 2 of the electrical harness video. I had to break this up into 2 videos just because it would be so long, and this video in particular is going to be really long because I'm going to go through it and show you everything I did so that if you're doing your own Café or other Virago conversion, you'll be able to just fast track this hopefully. I spent probably 30-35 hours on this part alone, which is crazy. It's the longest part of the build I've done so far. I spread that out over 2.5-3 weeks of working on the harness. It was not so enjoyable at the time, but now that I have the knowledge and a little bit of experience with the harness and electrical systems and components, I actually maybe slightly enjoy it a little bit more rather than dread it. On the next build it should be way easier, but the reason this build is so complicated is because the Cycom units on the Viragos are insane to work with, and it's tied into everything. So any generic wiring diagram for any bobber or Café would work in theory, but I wanted to recycle the harness because there's so many wires and everything is just so intertwined that it was easier for me to try to work with it than try to rewire an entire new harness. On my next build, whatever that's going to be, I think I'm going to pick something that has a basic electrical system rather than something crazy like the Virago has. So I learned a lot from this, and hopefully you can too. Like I said, I spent so many hours on this. It's by far the longest part of the build that I've spent so far. But I'm glad it's done and it works, so I'm very happy. I feel very satisfied. It's a good sense of satisfaction actually. So with that said, let's get to it. I will give you some tricks and tips right now before you get started to make your life a lot easier and get you started working on this and start taking things apart. At least you won't have to deal with the crap I went through. So first thing that I learned is before you start building this and stripping it, don't throw out anything, don't take apart the harness, don't throw out the Cycom unit. Try to take the whole harness off of the bike with everything attached. So if you can't do certain parts, if you can't remove certain things off of the bike, just leave it attached somehow and just let it hang, kind of like I got it here, just so you know where things go. Second thing is label every single wire and clip. So on the clips itself, in terms of marking everything where they went, I just did a very simple system. On the male side, I put a triangle with the number 1. On the left, on the female side of the clip on the harness, I put the same triangle with the same number, so it was giving me number 1, let's say. And I would just keep going all the way up. And this way, if I took everything apart, I know what clip into what. It seems pretty simple, but it actually gets pretty complex once you take off all the electrical tape on the harness and you pull it off the bike. There's so many clips and so many wires that you're going to be missing. There's also wires on here that are spliced together from the factory that don't have plastic clips, or there's other ones that have bullet connectors. So mark everything because you might miss them. And if you use green tape, you'll be able to spot it in the harness a lot easier when it's all out of the bike. The third thing is keep all the stock hand switches intact. Keep the ignition intact, keep the headlight, the turn signals, the coils, everything. Keep everything intact, don't throw it out. One thing I learned is, even through this when I was rebuilding it, I figured out why I was having so many issues, why the flashes weren't working, or the taillights weren't working, or even the turn signals, for example, is because the bulbs are different wattage. So the relays that are used in the stock harness don't produce enough power or something like that, where the bulb won't even turn on, or they might just stay on, or they won't even blink, or whatever. So save yourself the hassle, keep all that stuff together, and then don't start cutting and replacing things until you get all those parts that you need for the swap or the conversion in. So like your new headlight has to be here, your turn signals, your tail light, your brake light, you're changing that. All that stuff should be in your possession before you even start chopping everything, so that when you start working on it, you can work on it in a methodical manner, you can work on it very structurally, and work on it very smoothly, so that everything flows together and you don't just pick up and stop and forget what you did here and there, which is what happened to me. I got overzealous and I started chopping things, thinking I could figure it out later, which I did, but it took way longer than anticipated, or way longer than it should have. I'm going to show you that everything works here, so I'll turn on the ignition. Alright, so I've got the headlight, the turn signals in the front, and then the rear signal, and that tiny little light over there, that's the license plate light. It's just another little tiny light I had laying around. That's a tail light. So basically I'll go through right now. The turn signals work. there's the left side, this is the right side. They don't blink yet because I don't have the right relays in, but the cancel button works. And one thing that I realized that took me forever to figure out, ever since I started this, I thought the two front turn signals were broken because they're always on. Turns out that this bike has daytime running lights, and those two front turn signals always stay on. I tried to eliminate that, but it's a little more complicated than it looks. So I didn't want to mess with it because I do have it working, so I'll just keep that on and let it work. So this is using pretty much stock bulbs, nothing's LED yet. I will put on the other headlight I got here, which is integrated with the LEDs flashers, and then I have to put my integrated tail light, which is all LED, and then I have my brake light here, so that's the license plate light, and the tail light is on. So I'll show you that the brake light works here. So this is the rear, you can see it lights up, and the front ones work as well, but I don't have them hooked up to the lever yet. They are right here. So I'm using the stock Yamaha controls, so this is for the front brake lights to be activated. I've just spliced these onto the wires. And again, nothing's soldered yet, so I will have to go through and resolder all my splices. And I also used the stock Yamaha R1 switches, so that one there. And then the on-off switch or whatever is over there. I'm using the stock Virago hazard switch, which is that thing right there. I'm just going to reuse it. I'll have to mount it somewhere because the R1 stock does not have a hazard switch button. The horns work as well, I'll show you that. And then the starter still works, which I can show you. So I still have the Virago one on. I'll quickly show you here. So that works. This is the start stop. That also works. So here's the thing that frustrated me for a long time. I know it's really simple, but I had this on, so this kill switch, and then I kept pushing it, like, now it just happened. Nothing was happening. I was so frustrated. I didn't know what the hell changed because I didn't do anything. Then I realized that was it. And so that saves you headache. So if you try to push the start button and your headlight just dims, then you know that that's most likely probably your issue. Another thing I learned is the grounds on this bike are crucial. So you need to make sure that you have a very strong, solid, clean ground connection. If it's hooked up to the frame, the battery, whatever, just make sure it's nice and clean. The stock turn signals actually use the housing on the turn signal itself to ground itself. So you will have to connect some grounds from your new tail lights or whatever that you're using, your turn signals, to another ground somewhere, right? You can create your own or just tap into one of the grounds on the harness. They're kind of everywhere. I did a lot of elimination, so all those wires back there, that whole stack of stuff there, that's all crap that I took off the original harness. Like the kickstand switch, the bike will still start if the kickstand is down now, and you can actually drive away now if the kickstand is still down, so you have to be careful with that. And then I've eliminated a whole bunch of other stupid relays that I didn't need. I don't remember exactly what they're for, but I'll show you the instructions. I got them off the ViragoTech.com forum, which is like an insanely good resource to use for this build. There's some guys on there who have some serious experience and skills with the Viragos, and they just know everything. And if not, like this topic, this conversion, these bikes have been covered so many times with pretty much every issue you would ever experience is already solved on that forum, so take some time to look on there. Removal of starter cutoff relays for 82 Virago 920. The post was originally made by Gio. He wrote a 2-page article on how to do that. It's pretty simple, just follow it through. And then he did another one to follow that one, which goes hand in hand for the Cycom removal. Same guy that wrote it, Gio, right up there. You can see it, kind of. So Gio is the guy's name. So you can just type that into Google and it'll come up. And then again, just follow every single instruction line by line, and it's pretty simple to do. the bike still works, and it turned over and I got rid of all that nonsense that I didn't need, which was honestly probably causing some issues in the beginning. Then the next thing I would recommend buying is the Haynes manual. The book is about $40, I think. You can get it on Amazon. It's invaluable. It shows you all the maintenance crap that you can use in here. Like, it has a bunch of tricks and tips and all that stuff, which is cool. But for this purpose, this is what I bought it for. Full clear color diagram of the harness. You can get them online, but they're never proper, or they're really like they're blurry, or they're just hard to follow. So this is like key and it's invaluable. I'll leave it here if you really want to try to do a screenshot of it. It's pretty complex, as you can see, and everything goes into the Cycom unit here, which makes everything so much more complicated than it needs to be. And there's a million other relays down here. So I looked at this over and over and over, and every time I looked at it, I found or understood it even more, which is crazy because I swear I looked at it and I'm like, I didn't see that the first time, but then you look at it over and over and over and you start seeing things you missed, or things start making sense. So the more time I spent on the electrical stuff, the more it started to make sense. Same with those instructions by Geo, like they're pretty plain and simple, but I was hesitant to cut things. But I just went with it anyways. It got to the point where I just didn't care anymore. I was like in too deep, and if it didn't work, then like I said, my plan B was to send away the harness to California to get it done by JTech Moto. But thankfully I didn't have to do that. So my original relays I ordered didn't come in yet, so I actually used Amazon Prime. I had an Amazon Prime account and I had no idea I even had it. I just saw the bill on my credit card and I was wondering what the hell that was. So I took advantage of it and I got the relays the next day for the LEDs. So I have those. I'm going to install that, and then I'm going to hopefully swap over all my stuff to the LEDs so I can get it to work. I'll show you the basics of what is what. This part here was connected to the stock hand switch for the left turning signal, the horn and all that crap. This took a while to figure out. So the dark brown one, the left turn signal. The dark green is the right turn signal. The pink one is the horn. And the flasher cancel is this yellow red one, which it's not hooked up to anything, but the cancel for the switches, the turn signal still works. So I don't know if this just becomes eliminated, because I tried to look at it on the harness and it just, I don't know, it doesn't work. I guess it doesn't need to be hooked up. For the headlight, you have this yellow one, which is connected to my high beam on my new R1 stock. So the yellow one's for the high beam. This brown and white cable is the 4-way flasher. And then this other green one that's not as dark, it's more like pea soup green, is for the headlight as well, but it's the daytime one, like the regular headlight connection. And this is also for the headlight, this dark, I think it's blue and black. Yeah, so this blue and black wire is also for the headlight. So I basically connected those two together, and then I connected it to the yellow one coming off of my R1 stock. I know it says high beam there, but that's incorrect. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. And then there's a black wire in here, which is a ground for the horns. So yeah, you're gonna have a pink and the black for the horn there. And then this one took me a while to figure out. So on my new R1 signal, there's this brown and white one, which is for the cancel, for the turn signal, the cancel button. And when you eliminate it off the stock one, because there's more wires on the stock one than most new turn signal switches. So what ended up happening is I jumped this right now from my R1 to this one here. So it's hooked up to the 4-way cable, the brown and white on that one, and now my turn signals work and they cancel out. So like I said, I'm not sure where this flasher canceller thing, because on the harness itself, this is the yellow and red one is for the cancel button. I don't know why it didn't work or whatever, so I just jumped these by just curiosity. I just jumped it together with alligator clips and it worked. What else is important? So I cut off a few things. These are part of the safety relay, which I'm not going to go through that stuff because the instructions are pretty clear and easy to do, so you can actually follow the geo instructions to get rid of all the other relays. Let me see what else is here. These blue wires that you'll see that the headlights are connected to now, these are actually running your, one goes to the fuse box, or like this little thing here, and the other one also runs the license plate lights, but it gets most power from there. And then again, you still have, like, here's your turn signals. So the same colors that are on this end of the stock are also taps or bullet connectors for your headlights. I mean your turn signals here. So there's the pea green one, pea soup green one, and then there's also this dark brown one here for the turn signal. And they're all connected, so they run all the way to the back of the harness at the back of the bike. Okay, this pin right here used to be connected to the Cycom unit. If you follow those geo instructions, they tell you a lot of stuff. So this rubber relay box is the flasher cancel relay, which, like I said, because I'm jumping those two wires right now, I don't know if this actually needs to be working or if it's technically hooked up. The bike has a relay for the turn signals, and then there's a starter relay, which is one of the relays with the blue clips. And then there's the starter cutoff relay, which is this one with the white clip. They all look the same, like these three here. And there's one more with the blue clip, which I forget what this one's for. And then you have your hazard relay for the hazards, the four ways. That's my rear license plate right now, so it's sky blue like it was from the other one I showed you at the front there. And then it's going to have obviously a negative and positive side here. It's got two taps there, two bullet connectors. And then everything kind of goes into like one main ground, so you can see all these black ones here. And they connect all the way into here. It splices off to the front. And then this essentially connects to the ground on the battery. There was another ground on here for some of the stuff I eliminated. So basically what I have to do now is I need to connect all my LED stuff, and then I'll swap over the relays that I just got actually, which I'll show you. So I ordered these off of Amazon. I use Amazon Prime. They're for LEDs. They were, I think, $4 each, or $5 or something. They were a bit more. I found some for like $2, but they didn't offer the Prime shipping, like one-day service type thing. So these are for LEDs. I got two of them. They're both 2 prongs to replace the 4-way flasher relay as well as the turn signal relay. So I'll install those relays once I get the brake lights and the turn signals on. So remember, the new headlight is integrated with the turn signals, and the rear taillight that I got is the taillight, turn signals, and brake light all in one. So I'm actually going to be able to get rid of all my signals and lights right now. The only one that I'll have remaining that'll be an individual light is going to be the license plate light. And so I'll come back when I get all that done, but that was the gist of how I did everything. So this is going to be a super long video, but at least hopefully it helps you guys get the how-to on this. And if you have questions about it, let me know. But the geo thing, start with that so you can eliminate the Cycom. Before you do that, make sure all your turn signals and your headlights and all that stuff works before you take it off the bike, and make sure to label everything, and then do the Cycom removal and the relay switches removal. So like now I don't have to push the clutch in to start the bike. It doesn't have to have the kickstand up to go, so that's, I don't know if that's a dangerous thing or not. I think most people will kick the kickstand up anyways before you start moving. And then I think those are 2 relays that I got rid of, essentially safety relays rather, which got rid of all the wires as well. So yeah, I'll come back when I get the other stuff wired up. Alright, so I have the integrated headlight with the turn signals and the integrated rear tail light / turn signals and brake light hooked up. I started soldering all my joints, and I started cleaning up the wires and placing them where I think they should kind of go, and rerouting them so that when I do put the new protective cover on the harness, It's a lot easier. I'll show you what I did with the front headlight. It's a little different than the original one. As far as the rear integrated light goes, it's pretty simple. You just match up the colors to the corresponding wires coming off the harness. I went through that in the part 1 video of what is what. But for the headlight, it's a little bit more different, and there were some extra wires that I don't know what they normally do or where they should be hooked up, but I did find a way to rig it up so it works. So I'll go ahead and show you that right now. The new headlight that I have each side, so there's obviously the main harness plug thing for the high beam, low beam, and ground for the headlight itself in the middle. Then the turn signals have 3 wires, so there's a ground and there's 2 other wires. I don't know what this red wire does. I don't know why I need it. But what I did is I basically took the 2 greens on both sides, because remember it's an integrated headlight, so the turn signals are on both sides and they both have the same wires. There's a red, a green, and a black on both sides. So I took the green wires and I connected them to the corresponding lights that used to be on the harness here. So like the pea soup green wire for the front right turn signal, and then there was the dark brown one here for the front left. And it obviously runs to the back, so I basically just connected those to that directly and it works and they turn on. So I don't know why this red wire is on this new headlight, and maybe it's for another bike, but I'm not looking into it because right now it works. So I'll go ahead and show you that it actually works. So that is that high beam. I've already mounted the switch on the bars. So I have, that's the regular light, that's the high beam, and then the turn signals and the cancel. So they do work. I also found, so in case you have this issue, because I'm using the original factory hazard switch, because the R1s don't have one, I found that if I turned it all the way to the right or the left, it didn't work. But if I merged it just like that for some reason, I guess the switch is glitchy or something, they all work. So it also works in the back as well. You can see the original ones there working. I'm gonna actually keep those on, only because I find that the integrated taillight I have, I'll actually show it to you, I don't find them to be that bright, and I have a feeling I'm gonna have issues trying to pass the safety certification I need to do. So you can kind of see that it's blinking, but they're not all that bright. And then the other issue I found with this light, if I apply the brakes, you can barely tell, right? Like it's on, but you don't really see much of a difference. And I think that's because something to do with like this strip, because it's all integrated, that it's an LED, there's no real dimmable feature on this. So what I'll do is I'm gonna probably buy another one, because they're only 10 bucks, and I'll dedicate one as being my tail light and one as the brake light, so that when I actually apply the brakes you can fully see it, and hopefully that'll pass the safety. If not, I'm going to reuse the factory brake light that I have hooked up, and then I've actually tapped all the rear signals to before the clip here, so that they're all hooked up to here, and then for the safety certification, I can just simply hook this back up, make that as my brake light for the certification, but then when I'm actually done and I pass it, then I'll just unclip it and everything will still work. These will just stay on the bike and I'll just hide them, or I'll just pull the bulbs out or whatever, because I cannot figure out why, but if I unplug it, my turn signals in the back don't work. So they need to be connected somehow, and I haven't figured out how to reroute it or to jump them together to eliminate them. But for now, whatever, like they'll just stay on. I need them mounted anyways, probably for the safety. So I'll probably just leave it, and then eventually when I'm done, I'll tuck it under the seat. And then I'll just take out the bulb so you don't see it flash anyways. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so that basically concludes the part of the build regarding the electrical harness and hooking up everything to make sure it works. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'll link all the information that you need for the various things in this build, like those elimination relays and whatnot, where you can buy the Heinz book and all that stuff. I'll put that all in the link below. And like I said, if you have any questions or you're stuck on something, maybe let me know. I'm not an expert, but I might be able to help you, since I know a lot about this particular setup now. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.